want to do, you know, the whole point of this is to another form of getting people, because for whatever reason, loads of people, what I write about on my website, people go there and they interact, and there's some really good interaction. So this is another vehicle to convey that message. Now, entirely anything you want, anything you want to talk about, any topic.
What we would like would be to just let people know why there's still the need for the Justice Campaign 23 years after Hillsborough. I'm Sheila Coleman. I was first involved with Hillsborough as an academic researcher. I monitored all the legal proceedings after Hillsborough and published and co-authored the first critical accounts, and basically saw the emerging cover-up, not just with the disaster, but then with the West Midlands Police, with the investigating officers.
I'm a survivor of Hillsborough, and the reason why I got involved in Hillsborough because I was there on the day. I wanted to do something. You know, 96 fans went to a football match. You never come home that day, so I want to be involved in it from day one and just do something for the fans that come back home.
Okay, you're all right. Steve.
Hi, John. My name's Steve Kelly. I lost my brother Michael at the Hillsborough disaster. Like everybody else, I think, in the city, you know, we were numbed for many years by what happened, and trying to find out why it happened, and why our lads and women went to the game that day and just never came back.
Yeah, I'm Jockey from Anfield FM, and we're talking about the papers getting released on the 12th of September. Now, so yeah, I'm also here as a survivor as well, and I'm glad that things moving in the right direction, and we want to get the word out to people out there who you know, who may not know the full story.
All right, there's a lot said about it, there's a lot been said, but the truth hasn't been communicated, and you know, the whole point, I think, you know, for this, you know, kind of sort of video and that today, is that there's a lot of miscommunication out there. It's absolutely flabbergasts me to this day how little people outside of those directly touched by it know about it. You know, how little people in the south know about it, how little people who should know about it, football fans who should take an interest in it, you know, because it could have been any of them who were lucky enough to be at that semi-final. So,
but Joe, what that goes to the heart of them. What you're saying there goes to the heart of the matter. People don't know, and that was why this campaign was only formed 9 years after Hillsborough, which is really unusual, and it was formed because of families who were in the Hillsborough Family Support Group, and why if the campaign became so important, and why it's so important to have a physical building. You've got a focal point, you've got people like Jockey coming in, and Jockey comes in and goes, that's me on that photograph, as he just showed you downstairs, the photograph of him, which summed up, as far as I'm concerned, that day. Jockey and others who were there, ripping down hoardings, carrying bodies and a line of police behind. And I think, do you want to say something about that? Because
Yeah. We'll just rewind back to the April 1989. Now, I remember getting to the grounds. It was a lovely day as well, lovely spring day. And there was a bit of pushing outside, you know, a bit more than usual, but you know, nothing to get worried about really. Anyway, we ended up getting through the turnstile. Now, anyone who was there or had been to Hillsborough around that time, there was a stand above the Leppens Lane, but the stand wasn't accessed by turnstiles outside. Everyone would go to the same turnstile, and they get to this tunnel, the tunnel we all know about, and just at the side of the tunnel there was a flight of stairs, you know, take about 10 people across, all the way up, and that was going into the stand. And I think you just either go up and show your ticket and you go up there. Anyway, this was just before the gates were opened. We got in, and we got to that tunnel, and that tunnel was empty. Obviously, we all know what the surge was inside the ground. I think it was a Barnes or Beardsley at the bar.
Beardsley.
Right, so I was just about to run into that tunnel, and for some reason the lad who was with me, who's actually dead now, he didn't die at Hillsborough, but maybe he died of some of the causes, which might, you know, afterwards, social causes sort of thing. So he said, "Jockey, come on, we'll go in the stand," and he pulled me by the hand to take me up the steps, and a policewoman pulled me by the other hand to throw me down the tunnel. So there was a bit of a tug of war going on in the middle. She was trying to tow me into this tunnel, and my mate wanted to go me into the stand. I think he might have had the ticket for the stand. So he's won this tug of war with the policewoman, and we've ended up going up the steps into the stand. Meanwhile, it must have been seconds later, the gates had been opened by, I think it was, I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was Marshall. And
he was the
superintendent
Marshall.
So he's give the shout to open the gates, and the fans have ran in. They're late, you know, they want to see the kick-off. So they've ran in. Now I should have been in that tunnel, but my mate had won this tug of war. So we ended up going up into the stand, and seconds later that tunnel was full, and I think I'm right in saying people died in that tunnel.
No, they didn't. No,
they didn't.
No. That was a lot of people said that, but all evidence is they died in the pens.
Okay.
How they didn't die in the tunnel, I don't know.
Okay, so anyway, I ended up getting up into the stand, and we shouldn't have been in the stand, and we still weren't aware of what was going on. So we went to sort of the side of the stand, and we dropped down into what you call pens, what they called pens, and we dropped down into the pen, and the pen we was in was the left of Liverpool's goal. The left of where everything happened, and that pen was empty.
They'd be 5 and 6. Them
two pens were empty.
Yeah.
Then, and I think the same on the other side of pen 3 was also empty, and obviously pen 3 was full. So I've dropped down to where we should have been in the terracing, and then that must have been 2 minutes past 3. And then there's been what we've taught is a pitch invasion. And then next thing, I seen a kid with red hair, and his face was blue. And I said to me, mate, something's going on here. Anyway, we climbed over and started helping. Climbed over onto the pitch, which was a job in itself. I mean, the pen, no one opened the emergency exits for us. So I got over there, and there was this kid with red hair, and he had a blue face, and the contrast was what shocked me. And I realised it wasn't a pitch invasion, but the only people helping anyone there that day was the fans. There was 1 or 2 coppers telling people to get back in as they were climbing over. Anyway, I don't know whose idea it was. It certainly wasn't mine, but people started ripping up the advertising ordnance around the pitch. And we started carrying fans to the opposite corner of the pitch. We got directed that way. But what got me, I must have carried about 15 hoardings that day. Maybe more, maybe less, I don't know. But every time we had to manoeuvre our way through a police line on the halfway line, and this police line was separating the Liverpool end from the Notts Forest end. Now, you know, I know during a pitch invasion that'd be the logical thing to do, but we were carrying dead bodies, we were carrying injured bodies through this line, and not one of them helped us. I mean,
what were the coppers doing?
Well, I said not one of them helped. There was 1 or 2. You know, there's you know, everyone's human. There was 1 or 2 coppers down behind that goal, helping people out. You can see it on. You can go to YouTube and look on the footage. There is coppers helping people over. You know, at the end of the day, they're human, but they were like robots. And someone from the top was on the radio to whoever was commanding them, and they were saying, "Just hold that line." And you'd sort of have to scream at them to get out the way as we're going. That's how much they were programmed. So anyway, we were carrying them down to a morgue. There was a morgue, well, it wasn't a morgue, obviously, it was a gym. There was like a small gym at the end by the corner flag. And we were just getting directed into this gym, and I was just laying people down, and I was going to get another one. It was a production line, and apparently my mate Ian Glover was in that gym, dead. He'd passed away, but I didn't recognise him. But I had no feelings that day. There was no shock. There was just nothing. There was a numbness. I don't know why, but there was. But I also remember another thing. An ambulance driver ran up to me by that morgue, because you could actually manoeuvre vehicles onto the pitch. And an ambulance driver ran up to me that day, and he said, "Can you drive an ambulance?" And I said, "Well, I can drive a car, but I don't know what an ambulance entails." But out on the street, I think there was a queue of, well, I can't say how many, but there was a huge amount of ambulances on that street, and they could have come through them gates, they could have come onto that pitch, and for some reason, which we're about the 24th of August today, or whatever day, for some reason we don't know, maybe in a couple of weeks we might know, but there was definitely ambulances out, and someone from above was given certain orders for whatever reason, I don't know.
Where does the miscommunication start then? I mean, obviously, some of the stuff I've read about was, you know, almost instantly in terms of the breaking news and the information that was getting fed to, I think it was BBC News Flashes, was it?
Yeah.
So does the misinformation start almost instantaneous?
It's the cover-up began on the day.
Yeah, as I said before, I mean, I was at Hazel as well, and I didn't see it so close hands at Hazel, because right over the other side, but I was there and I followed the news after, and the people also got crushed at Hazel. We won't go too much into the effect, what Hazel was about, but the people who were crushed there, I first noticed then that they had the life crushed out of them, and they urinated because it was squeezed out of them. Now the same is again happens at Hillsborough. People had the life crushed out of them and urinated again, the bladders give in. Now I can only think at the time, and looking back now, that's where the original story of fans urinating on other fans or urinating on police, that was the seed to cause that story.
I think what's important, and something that might make people away from Liverpool and football understand it, is the person who usually policed Hillsborough was a guy called Mole, and a very experienced officer, Chief Superintendent Mole. I forget his first name, and yeah. But anyway, he would have been Chief Superintendent Mole.
So did he do 88?
Yeah. Now what happened in 89? There's this lad, and these two. He gets a gun put to his head in a local park. A young policeman gets a gun put to his head. Turns out it's two other young cops playing a game on him. But it turns out that the fellow who had the gun put to his head, his father is a police officer as well, so a complaint goes in. The two coppers who'd put the gun to the fella's head, they were under Mole, and Mole took the rap for it. They removed him from police in Hillsborough.
As a punishment?
As a punishment, yeah. And this is documented, by the way. This isn't like hearsay. The deputy in charge on that day was Murray, Deputy Superintendent, whatever, Murray. And Murray had worked closely with Mole. The person they put in charge was David Duckenfield. He was the officer in overall control on that day. No one liked him in 89. No one liked him. He was considered a bit of an idiot, a bumbling idiot. Most of the officers there, Superintendent Marshall, who opened the gate on the instructions of Duckenfield, Greenwood, who was on the pitch as well, they all had more experience. Now there's a school of thought that says because they didn't like Duckenfield, they wouldn't cooperate with him. They were like, he's in charge, let him deal with it. So when the things they would have noticed going wrong, because they had the experience, and Mole, had he been in charge, certainly would have had the experience. Duckenfield didn't, and Duckenfield, by his own words, froze. Now we know that his initial reaction was to lie, hence he told Graham Kelly of the FA the fans burst the gate down. Yeah. That came from the officer in charge on that day.
This gate was never closed?
No,
this gate was closed and then opened?
Yeah, because
it wasn't burst down.
It was opened by...
So the police opened the gate?
Yes, Duckenfield gave the instructions to Marshall to open the gate.
Because this is what Steve was saying to me.
Yes.
This gate would have been
almost impossible
to have burst open.
But it was opened on instructions, but Duckenfield then lied to Graham Kelly, who then told the media. And obviously at the Taylor inquiry, David Duckenfield admitted he lied, and he said, I froze, I didn't know what to do. So basically, when Lord Justice Taylor said the cause of the disaster was the breakdown of police control, he was spot on. It was one bad decision after another. And it goes to the heart of trying to explain it to other people and why it occurred in 89 and not 88. In 88, you had an experienced senior officer in charge. In 1989, you had an officer put in charge who other officers didn't like. And it can be assumed, said, well, he's in charge, leave him to it.
So a lot of the miscommunication is about, they were saying it was ticketless fans who were drunk, who were turning up, intent on causing trouble and getting into the game. And the reality of it is, listening to, as I say, eyewitnesses, people who were at the game, you know, when all the evidence now is starting to come out, and as I say, hopefully we're on the 22nd now, in, 3 weeks' time, the truth will be out there.
Another issue is around how many lives could have been saved. I mean, Steve tell his own story, but Michael was the first body out, wasn't he? And there's an argument he could have been saved, isn't there?
Mike had the sort of unfortunate task of being the first out, and he was the last to be identified, because I didn't find Mike till the Sunday evening. put the telly on like everyone else and seen what was coming up, and it said then people were injured and possible fatalities and all that. So you follow the story, but thinking of our kid, I just thought, well, he was a big lad, he was bigger than me, big strong fella, you know, hopefully a very experienced football fan, been to the Reds all his life. He'll be safe, he'll know what to do, our kid, know how to get out and all that. Because I remember him saying to me at high school, funny, and I don't want to get back onto that. I said to him, what happened, Mick? And he went, he said, I just seen it all kicking off. He said, no, I got off and went for a bevy. You know. So I was confident in that, you know what I mean? And there was a phone on, we had a phone table, there was a message on it from Aunt Margaret, my cousin had phoned up. He said, the message from me, message just said, Steve, still no word from your Mike. But I still, you know, sounds terrible to say, but I still felt confidence, because I thought,
I was confident about it.
He's probably gone to bed, he got a few drinks, seen a lot of horror, because we knew by then what had gone on. And he's gone and got his head down somewhere, some ales.
Yeah.
But woke up the following morning quite shocked. Got that stressed out in the end. I just said, that's it, I'm just arriving to Sheffield. And so I drove just up there again, a lovely sunny day on the 16th, and went over. And I drove to the Leppings Lane gates. And again, there was a copper on the gate. I said, I can't find my brother, mate. And he said, well, don't be fucking parking there. And I said, oh, fuck. And I got the keys and I just threw them over the gates. I said, well, what are you going to fucking do now? So he sort of semi-arrested me, if you like. He took us into this room, to this place, like, it must have been the gymnasium, but I always thought of it as like a little bit of a church. So he comes over and he went to, Mr. Kelly, he said, would you be prepared to go and look at some bodies? And I went, I said, what do I want to go and look at bodies for? I said, you've identified everyone, haven't you? He said, well, no, there's a man and there's a woman. He pulled out this Polaroid, remember the Polaroid cameras?
Yeah.
And he went, he sort of got this thing, about that big hand, and he went, is that him? And he threw it, and he threw it, and it sort of spun, but he was upside down, I mean, and I turned it like that. I looked at him and I said, yeah, that's him. So he said, you now need to go and do the form and identification. And then goes down into this room, and it was tiny, and there was just a big glass screen, and this thing went, okay, and I went, yeah, and woof, well, there he was laid out, you know. And again, I'll never forget, I just looked at it and I sort of went back. I actually think I went onto my knees, and I just looked at him and I said, yeah, that's it, like. I said, can I go and see him? And he went, so well, sorry. I said, I want to go and see him. I said, I want to give him a kiss. That's what I said. I said, I want to just give him a kiss. He said, we can't. I said, well, why? He said, well, he's the property of the coroner. And I said, hey, he's fucking not me. I said, he's my brother. I said, let me go in. You won't. And then they came out, and it just seemed again as though they were like shepherd. You used to pay before, you're shepherding you out to sort of tick all the boxes and then get out. And you know, I think that was the day they sort of took control of us. And even now, even last Friday when we were down talking to the bishop and all them, I thought they're still controlling us. They're still controlling.
Exploiting grief.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you hoping for? You know, when these documents.
In terms of the Justice campaign, what we've said is on the 12th that report will come out. There has to be a change of the inquest verdict from accidental death. It wasn't an accident why they died, it was lack of care. That has to happen, and there has to be a formal ruling. The government has to say sorry, and there has to be a formal ruling that says these deaths were avoidable. There was a cover-up and then around the disaster, and there was a subsequent cover-up by the investigating officers, the West Midlands Police. These people have been treated unfairly, and the dead were treated unfairly, and that has to be recorded for history, for the truth of Hillsborough to be firmly established in the annals of history as a miscarriage of justice, in the wider miscarriage of justice, not just related to football, related to human rights.
the thing for me is, and again it's on, you know, just speaking to you today, is that no one here is saying, right, we want him to go to jail, him to go to jail. It's not about that. We don't, you know, the people are not saying, right, we want X amount of a compo.
Not homing in on individuals.
We want. It sounds like what everyone's saying, or I mean, as I say, I don't speak for any music. You tell me you're different.
I mean, do you agree?
What do you think?
Even when it's too late. That part of it's too late to make someone go to jail and in that. But as Sheila quite rightly said, you want the truth to come out. But seriously, that's at the best point. History's got to show where the blame lay, and more clearly to me where the blame didn't lay.